lecture number 3 and officially lecture number 4 of the SQL basics. And as we have decided that we are going to learn the basics, 4 basics, that is introduction, table and keys, your database and SQL basics before we move on to our SQL installation. Yeah, so before that we have to study these basics, and let me tell you, these basics are a very important one. Now moving ahead, we are going to start with SQL basics. SQL stands for structured query language, and now we are going to understand some of the features of SQL that are really important to understand, because whenever we are going for an interview or we are attempting our 2 marks questions in the semester examinations, then these small things, they grab the notice of the interviewer. They want to know that whether you know the basics or not. So moving ahead, first we want to understand that what is SQL. So this is the definition, or the full form of SQL, that is structured query language. So basically SQL, what SQL holds is that it allows all the data to be in a tabular form, to be stored in the form of rows and columns respectively. SQL is used to store data, retrieve data, update data, delete data, and manage the database. That is, these 4 things I told you about them, that these are the crude operations. So SQL, what it do is to store the data first of all, then to read or retrieve that data as per the demands of the user, then delete data. It completely deletes all data when the data is no longer in use. It updates the data, and yeah, in the end we say that there are so many databases for different purposes. So yeah, SQL manages all those databases. Now SQL behaves in the manner of relational database. In the earlier lectures we understood that what is a relational and non-relational database. It is a very frequently asked question in interviews. So MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle database, and Microsoft SQL servers, these are some of the other examples of relational databases. They all 4 of them, they use structured format for their coding, for their understanding of data, for their data storing. They use tabular formats, that is in the form of rows and columns. Now moving ahead, we are going to study about the types of SQL commands. SQL commands are basically divided into 5 categories. The very first category is data definition language, which is used to define the database structure. Now here we have 4 commands and their purposes along with them. So let's just understand each one of them one by one. First is create. So you can create, or you can make a new table or a database in your system by using this one simple command. Right now I'm just telling you about the create because in the upcoming lectures we are going to go deep dive into this SQL coding part. Then and there you will use all these commands. So right now I'm just giving you the brief introduction so that you can just get yourself familiar with all of them, and then gradually we can step up the level, because these are the basic levels. So I don't want to confuse you with all the practical knowledge in one lecture. Right now I'm focusing more on the conceptual knowledge, that whenever you are sitting for an interview, you can just simply revise all those concepts in your minds, that okay, in that lecture I heard that, I made my notes, and now it is here, the practical knowledge, right? Cool. So moving ahead, we are going to understand create. So this command, look at this command, it creates a table students in which it is asking us to keep these 3 things, where integer are the ID and age, and the name is varchar, and varchar 50, it means that the name can take up to 50 characters only, not more than that. So as per this command, let's do what it says. First, it has asked us to create a students table. Done. Here we have created the students table. Now it has asked us to make these 3 columns: ID, name, and age. Done. So we have done till now. Now when the thing that what is the data, if I have to insert this data, then how can I do that? This is done through a query or the command named insert, right? Now moving ahead, it is like alter. Okay, alter is a command that is used to modify something in a table. For example, let's make another column of marks here, and let's just give a 50 marks out of 100, right? But then when the child named A, he or she goes to their teacher and says that it should not be 50, you have calculated wrong marks, it will be 58 marks, I have not scored 50. So what will happen? We will have to modify this in the database. No, we have to write 58 instead of 50 in our database, and here's when the concept of alter comes into picture. Okay, so alter is used when you have to modify something in your table. So here you can just alter the marks and just change them from 50 to 58. We will use this command a lot when we'll be coding. Then drop. Drop is used to delete the table. Supposedly you don't need this whole students table. Now the school that holds the students table is now converted into a college, and now it will be college students table. Maybe now it will be college students table that they'll need. So they'll not need the school table. So what we have to do, we should just drop this students table, right? Now another thing that is truncate. Truncate is used when you have to delete everything in your data. So supposedly till now in the whole structure you have given a lot of commands and a lot of things have already happened in the database, but now what you want to do, you want to delete everything from the start to end. So that thing, it might be, let's take an example. Supposedly we already had a students table, then you made another table named department. So when you will drop the table, only the student table or only the department table will be deleted. But when you want to just delete everything in one go, then you can use truncate. Truncate will help you to delete all these tables, these or maybe much more tables. Maybe there is some orders table, maybe there is some customers table, there might be 4 tables also. So instead of deleting them one by one, you can just simply do truncate and all of the data will be gone, right? So these 4 were your data definition language commands. And data definition language, as you saw with these 4 commands, is used to define the database structure. It is used to define that how some data is created, how it is modified, how a table is dropped, how a table is deleted from the scratch to end. So this was basically the outer structure of that table. Now when we want to do something, like I told you that here if I have to add this record, this particular information 1, 8, 20 and 50, so how will I do that? So these are the something that are the manipulation, data manipulation language, where you will be manipulating the inside data of the table, because in data definition language we were just defining the outer side of the table, right? So moving ahead, it is the data manipulation language which is used to manage data inside these tables. Okay, it is used to manage data inside these tables. Here we are using insert, update and delete. So insert is used to add some data, update is used to modify some data, and delete is used to simply remove the data from the table inside. Not removing the table, here we are not removing the whole table or the whole database. Here we are just removing, we are just deleting the only inner data of that table, right? So here it says insert into students value this. So here is an insert command. Just let's do this. Supposedly there is a students table here, and here there is your ID. Okay, here is the ID. Okay, there is name then, and there is age then. Okay, done. So they are saying that insert this, successfully inserted, right? But now what happens, this is the 1 year old data. Now the 1 year has been passed and the age of Aisha has become 21. So what will you do? You will have to update it. No, you will have to update the data, right? So here we can say that update into students values, right? 1 comma Aisha comma 21. When you do this, then what will happen? When you do this, then what will happen? Then in this table, the age of Aisha from 20, it will become 21. That will be the new age. So in this way, using this update, you can simply just update the value of anything in the table, right? Now delete will just remove this data. You can just say delete student values and this thing. If you do this, then this record will be vanished off. You will be left with nothing, just this outer table, nothing inside that table, right? So we will just simply use delete to remove all the data from the table. Now the third that you come across is DQL, okay, that is data query language, which is used to fetch data. Okay, so here very common and the only command we see is select. So select is used to retrieve data from any table, and this is the basic syntax: select star from students. This students is the table name. Okay, this is the table name that we use. Let me show you. So see, again we are taking this very example of this is a students table, this is a name, this is your age, this is your age, right? If it is A, B and C, it is 10, 20 and 15, right? So you have to retrieve the data. So when you use select and asterisk, then the whole table is returned. But if you select name from students, right? So what will happen? Only this column will be shown you as the output, and soon we are going to use select a lot in our coding. So right now I'm just giving you the basic theoretical example that if it comes in exam, how will you write in exam, how will you show examples in your exam, and even if interviewer asks you to show this particular example as the output on pen and paper, then how will you show it when you don't use the SQL coding environment right now? So on pen and paper, how will you explain somebody? So select asterisk, what it does, it selects the whole table, whereas select and some particular domain like name, age, ID, what will it do? It will show that particular column only that is specified in our query, right? Now next comes is DCL, that is a data control language, and it is used for permissions, where there are 2 basic commands, that is grant and revoke. Grant is used to give access and revoke is used to remove access. So suppose that there is a class monitor in a class and he or she has the access to the teacher's cabin, Suppose there's a teacher who has signed the assignment and has asked the monitor to take all these assignment copies from his or her cabin and distribute it among the students. So what has happened, that one monitor from that class has got that opportunity to go and access the teacher's cabin, take all the copies and get back. So what happens, that that particular child is given the access, but after 1 month when the monitor changes, so the person who were earlier given the access will have no longer access, and their access will be removed by the command called revoke. Similarly, in a database, till the time you are granting access of something to someone, you will use grant, but as soon as you have to remove that access from that particular person, then you will use revoke. So here we have a grant example. Suppose you have a user named Rahul. Let's break down this example into chunks so as to understand that what is a query and how easy is to read a query. Grant means here to give access, right? Here grant means to give access. Select on students means from where to select. Okay, from where to select. And who is given the access? Whom to give access. Okay, it's Rahul. Okay, so supposedly there is a students table, name and age A, B, 10, 15. So Rahul has the access to this table. He will be granted an access to this table. He is the only person out of that 40 people class. Rahul is the only person who will be getting that access to this table, where there might be marks also. So he will be the lucky guy who will be knowing all the marks that people have scored, and then he can come back to his class and can do the show off and stuff. Yeah, like, okay, yes, this is exactly what it is. I know all the marks, and he can flaunt over that. So he is the person who will be granted some access, and as soon as his time of being a monitor and being the ruler of the class is over, he will be removed with this access using the keyword revoke. Now the fifth one is TCL, that is a transaction control language, and it is used for transaction management. So supposedly you are going for shopping somewhere, at some shop, maybe you are going to a dairy, and as soon as you have grabbed all your products, you are going to use Paytm and you are paying them. So whenever you are paying them, first case is that your money will be paid, you will be getting the goods, and your transaction is successfully done. Second case can be that whenever you are trying to pay the money, there is some internet issue and your transaction, it becomes pending. So what can happen? One thing can happen, that yes, the transaction is showing pending, but the money has been cut from your account and the payment has been done. So you have to wait for the status to change from pending to successful. And the second thing is, money is not deducted from your account, the payment is not done, and the payment is unsuccessful and the status is pending, right? Third thing is, suppose you are going for a race, and the task is to collect coins, but after you finish the race, you have to come back, mark the points where the coins were, and then take the coins and then go back. So what will happen in this way? First you will complete your race, and while completing your race, you will just drop some of the hints to remember that where the coins earlier were. So save points are the temporary checkpoints that are used to create some of the marks, that after doing the whole process, we have to review back to these points to correct maybe something or to change something. After, first we will complete the whole process, and then we will do little changes in the marked ones that we marked earlier, so as to avoid any kind of mistakes in the whole process. So this is what commit, rollback and save point means. Here is a very good example of commit. Okay, see, we have to update the students table. This is your students table. Okay, this is your students table. Here there are marks, and with marks there are your corresponding ID. So there are 95 marks for ID 1, and when I commit this, these changes are permanently saved in your computer, in your database. But what if I write some another command? Okay, so let's show this to you. Yeah, so here what if I do this 99 and not write this commit? What will happen? It will be changed. Yeah, it will be changed to 99, but the data will not be like permanently saved. If you will just delete, like close everything, if you close everything and you look back in your data history, there will be no 99 saved, because you have not committed this. This commit ensures your permanently saved changes. This ensures that yes, your changes are permanently saved and you can retrieve them anytime you want. But if you don't commit, then yeah, the changes will be still done, but they will not be sure that they are going to be saved permanently. If you do not commit, they will be saved temporarily. That's why for permanent changes to be saved, you definitely used to use this commit. Okay, great. I think you have understood this. Rollback is used to undo changes. Rollback is used when you have changed something, but now you want to undo those changes and go back and start from the scratch again. Okay, save point, as I told you, these are the temporary checkpoints. Whenever you are missing out on something, you mark them. First do the things that you will be able to do, and after completing the whole process, you come back to retrieve from the data that you left for the after some time reviewal. Okay, next are these aggregate functions. Okay, I think you must have gone through the Python and Java languages. There we use some of the inbuilt functions, like in Python list, we use append, push, pop. Some of the inbuilt functions of Python are max, min. Yeah, so similarly, these are the aggregate functions. These are the inbuilt functions in SQL. Count is used to get the count of something. Suppose there is a department, and these are the department. This is the department ID. This is department 1, 2, 3, HR and sales. If I have to count the department, if I have to count asterisk from department, so what will happen? We'll get that there are 2 departments of HR and 1 of sales. There are 2 departments of HR and 1 of sales. So this count function counts the number of things that we need to retrieve. Then average, what average do? Usually what average is, if there are 3 marks, we divide by 3. Suppose there are 10 plus 20 plus 30 marks, we divide by 3, then we get the average. This average does this calculation by itself, so we manually don't need to do this particular calculation there. Now max is used to extract the maximum marks. If there is 10, 20, 30, we will simply apply max to this query, and the 30 when the data associated, suppose B is 30, the data associated with it will be returned, and we'll get the maximum marks from the students table. Now next is the basic SQL syntax. How can we select? This is the syntax that select column name from table. Again, suppose this is a students table, this is name and this is age, right? So you have to select the name column, so you will just write select name from students. So when you will output this, when you will run this query, only this part will be available to you and not the age part, because you have just asked the name column to be selected from the students table, right? Now where is something where you add some condition. Okay, suppose take this table only. If the age is B, if the age is 20 and 30, so you have to select all the data. Asterisk means select all the data from this students table where age is greater than 18. So what you will return? You will return this whole table only, because 20 and 30 both are greater than 18. Okay, if it was not 20 and if it was just 2, so only this data will be returned. So it is basically a conditional statement where is used for the condition that if age is greater than 18, return all those columns where age is greater than 18, right? And is something where true and true is true, otherwise everything is false. So similarly, if it is written, if there is a table where there is name and age, and if it is Aisha and Ansh, right, and it's 40 and 20, so they have asked us that where age is greater than 18, both the ages are greater than 18, but and means this condition is true, but the another condition should also be true, that is name should also be Aisha. So only this condition is true here, so we will just return this particular block of code as the output. Now next is order. This is used when we have to select all the records from students and order their age by descending order. This is the way how you can get your records in the descending order. So if this table is there, and if it was 20 and it was 30, so you will return Ansh first and then Aisha, because you have to return the descending order. I think that's easy, you must have get that. Okay, now group by is used when we apply some of the queries on a particular table according to the rows. Okay, remember one thing very clearly, this is just the syntax, that how will you write. Take this as the reference. So what happens whenever, just remember this thing in group by, whenever you are using something with the select no, every time that will be the particular area where you will be grouping. Okay, so if it is select age, then you will group by age, right? So here if we write some query, so it will be that select department comma count asterisk as total from employees, and group by के साथ you will use group by, and here you will use department, right? So when you will do this, what this query is telling you, it is saying that select the department, then count the total number of people working in each department, count as total from employment, and group them by their department. So basically this query, you have to think smartly here, you have to understand what the query is asking from us. So here what will we do? We will group by those particular different departments, and we will get the count of people working in each of those departments. So what will be output of this query when we use group by? It will give us the department and the total employees working in each department. So if it is IT, we can see there are 2 people working in IT. If it is an HR, we are seeing there are 2 people working in HR. If it is sales, there is 1 person working in sales. This is how this particular query is done. I think till now you must have got the basic structure of how we are moving ahead, and I think this is a quite good lecture for you to understand the theoretical concepts, and if somebody asks you this in future, so you will be able to tell them that yeah, I know this concept and this is the way it is done. You can simply give all these examples. These all examples are good and interview friendly and exam friendly. I have honestly written these examples in my exams, and yes, I have scored quite good marks in my semester exams. I think it's done for now, and in the next lecture we'll be understanding how to install SQL on Windows, and for the Mac I'll be letting you know, I'll be giving you some of the instruction set, so you can surely use Mac also for installation. Yeah, done. See you, meet you in the next lecture.